All right, everyone, I'm going to give you a rundown on lessons 3.1 and 3.2 now. I'm in the 3132 quiz review file here. All right, so I'm just going to review how to do matrix operations. And then in the first video, we'll do adding, subtracting, and multiplying. And then we'll do a logic puzzle in the next video. We'll save this logic puzzle, I think, on these first two slides, or first four slides. We'll save those for later. Go to slide 6 of this file. Multiplying matrices is the main skill of lesson 3.1. The first thing to do is identify the dimensions of the matrices. The dimensions are the rows, number of rows by the number of columns. So this first matrix over here has 3 rows and 2 columns. So this matrix is said to be a 3 by 2. 3 rows, 2 columns. This one has 2 rows, 2 columns. So this one's a 2 by 2. In order for the multiplication to be possible, this number right here has to match this number right here. Okay, they do match. The number of columns of the first one match the number of, the number of columns of the first one match the number of rows of the second one. So that means the multiplication is possible, and here's why. What you're going to be doing when you multiply these is going across the first matrix. So we're going to be multiplying these two numbers and then down the second matrix. So you go across the row for the first matrix and down the column for the second matrix. So what this becomes is we're going to multiply 10 times 1 and 7 times negative 2. That's how you multiply these. 10 times 1 is 10. And 7 times negative 2 is negative 14. And then what you do is you add those. So you add 10 and negative 14, you get negative 4. Okay? That goes in the first space in your matrix. All right? Then, so what we did was we multiplied top row by first column. Okay? Now we have to do top row by second column. Okay, now we got to do 10 times negative 4 and 7 times 0 and add those together. So 10 times negative 4 is negative 40, 7 times 0 is 0. Add those together, we get negative 40. Okay, so what we just did was we did top row times first column and then top row times second column. And then we put our results in the spaces that would represent top row times first column and top row times second column. Okay, now you could probably guess what we're going to do next. Now we're going to do middle row times first column. We're going to do these two numbers. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. Negative 3 plus negative 8 is negative 11. Then we do middle row times second column. Negative 3 times negative 4 is positive 12. 4 times 0 is 0. So add them together, you get 12. So do you see how we operate down the rows and columns? When all is said and done, we're going to be multiplying top row times these two columns. Then we're going to be multiplying middle row times these two columns. And then finally, we're going to multiply the bottom row times these two columns. So 0 times 1 is 0. Negative 6 times negative 2 is positive 12. Add 0 and positive 12, you get 12. And then finally, we do bottom row times the second column. 0 times negative 4 is 0. Negative 6 times 0 is also 0. 0 plus 0 is 0. Okay? So when all is said and done, it's basically like distributing. You know the distributive property? What we did was we distributed each of these 3 rows to each of these 2 columns. And so 3 rows times 2 columns, we came away with 6 answers, right? See See these 6 results? That's because we distributed 3 rows times 2 columns. And our final answer was a 3 by 2. And the 3 by 2, our 3 by 2 result comes from that number and that number. The outer numbers of the dimensions of the original 2 matrices is the answer of your final output matrix. All right, so that's how you multiply 2 matrices together. Again, these 2 numbers must match for the multiplication to be possible. These 2 numbers are going to be the dimensions of your answer. And then that's basically what these little 2 things to remember here. That's what that says right there. All right, so let's try another one real quick. I'm just scrolling down and looking for one. Adding and subtracting, like basically you just add the elements. Like here, adding. So there's no special funny like rules to distribute or anything. You're just basically adding the elements that are in the same position. So that's going to be -3. This is going to be -4 plus 5 is just +1, and then 1 plus 2 is 3, and then 4 plus 4 is 8. That's all you're doing. With adding and subtracting, it's just literal combining basically the numbers that are in the same position. All right, like this one, number 6, you can't do. This one's impossible because you don't have enough elements to add. So there's only, this is a 1 by 2. It's 1 row by 2 columns. This is 1 row by 3 columns. So you don't have enough elements in this first matrix to add to the second matrix, so you can't do the addition. All right, we'll stop this video there. I don't want to get too long. We'll do another one next.